Hello everyone, my name is Raisa Marquez Cruz, and today I'm going to walk you through how I use Tableau for doing my audit project. So a little bit of background for this project: we are looking at sales revenue for Super Bowl, which is a company up in Maine that sells different types of soups across the state of Maine, and we're comparing that to the weather data information to be able to find any anomalies in the way they're recording their sales. So in Tableau, we were given sales information, store types, which is Super Bowl classifies their sales into 3 different categories: store type 1, type 2, and type 3, and that is depending on the location. So that is coastal Maine, northern Maine, or mid Maine. The first thing we realized when we did this was that for store type 1, when we incorporated the data into Tableau, is that for store type 1, the sales revenue for 2016 does not match the sales revenue that we were given from the balance sheet that they reported. So it's the first red flag. So that gave us like an idea to start looking into store type 1 only, or more specifically. Then we use Tableau, and they have a map feature in which we were able to put in the latitude and longitude to spot where the locations are. And that was interesting because by color coding the store types, we were able to see right away that store type 1009, which is considered store type 2, which is mainly mid-Maine, was classified as store type 2, and it should be considered store type 1 because it's northern Maine. Another thing that we did in Tableau that was very useful for us is that we started looking into sales. So for this project, we were told that if the sales, for the current year, if the sales are higher than the previous year, the manager of that store type will get a bonus. So we were skeptical about that, and we wanted to find out, okay, were there high sales for that year, and what store was it? So what we did is we did an anomaly analysis, and in here we can see how we have 3 different kinds. We have a bad anomaly, which is, and for the purposes of this project, would be the unusually high sales compared to the standard deviation. And we have unusually low sales, but we're not really concerned with those. So those are considered good anomalies for our purposes because they're lower sales. But the ones that are abnormally high or unusually high, we're able to spot them, and we're also able to see for what month specifically this is happening. Once we saw that, we narrowed it down to store type 1, and that's when we saw that they had a lot more bad anomalies. And after doing that, we went specifically into store type 1 only, and we compared, we did a heat map, but we went very specific. So we sorted it by month, by day of the month, and store type for that day. And we're comparing the sales revenue for comparing 2016 sales revenues to 2015 sales revenues. And there we can see we're also looking at the colors of the bars because that gives us how much snow they had. So the lighter the color, the less snow, but the darker the color, the more snow they had. So as we're going through, we're able to spot like some major differences. Like for example, on February 2nd, store 1020 had 1,788 sales, and they had 22 inches of snow, whereas in 2016 they had no snow, but they had the same exact amount of sales, which is a red flag right away. And we see that occurring very often. So for 10,001, and as we scroll down on multiple occasions, we often see that the sales are either the same or they are higher when they had less snow. Once we're able to pick this out, from here, this was helpful to help us to pick out specific dates where this was happening. And then we created a chart that shows the specific store types, what days they had, like the sales, like we were able to spot the differences, and we were able to pick out and show the specific types, the specific dates, and the anomaly with the snow and the sales. So if we look here, for example, let me see what store. Oh no, I'm gonna move to February because that's actually the worst month for the anomalies. That's what we had the most. And basically we can see here for store 10001 on the 2nd of February, they had 0 snow in 2016 as opposed to 20 inches in 2015, yet the sales are exactly the same. So in here we're able to show this to the client, and the client can see that the anomalies are there. Like, he can see it right away. The numbers don't make sense because the numbers of sales can't be the same when the snow is not the same as the previous year. If anything, it's less snow. We should be having less sales. And we see that across the different tables for the different months. We only looked at January, February, March, and April because those are the months where there was snow reported. We weren't so much concerned with summer months because we know the sales were going to be low regardless. And that is the explanation of the project.